welcome to a Ohio State recruiting update now that Sam Greer is in the 2026 class. Do us all a big favor and smash that like button this morning. Make sure you share the show. That's the biggest way you can help us outside of hitting that little thumbs up button. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Chris, we're only 183 people away from 4,000 subscribers here on the OHIO podcast. So if you're one of those 183 who have not done that yet, please considering do so. We do appreciate that. And the other thing we want you to do is make a comment down in the comments section below. Let's talk about it. The first comment I'd like for you to make is, were you surprised yesterday of learning that Sam Greer is in the class? Chris, I was not. I kind of expected this.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is a get that I think we had to have, but I'm not surprised at all that we got it. So, a kid who still a little raw, but man, the ceiling for this kid is phenomenal, Eric. I am really psyched to have him in the class.
I am as well. He was one of my five must gets from the state of Ohio. He was in my top five in the state of Ohio. And so getting him, I think, was huge, not only for this class and not only for kind of turning the momentum in offensive recruiting for Ohio State. Let's talk about that for just a second, right?
Yeah,
So you lose Justin Fry. Justin Fry, hats off to Justin Fry for the job he did as offensive line coach in the 2024 national championship run when we dealt with
absolutely.
injuries on the offensive line, right? But if there's one complaint I had about Justin Fry, it was the fact that he just seemed to not have a very good grasp on how to recruit at Ohio State, which is kind of shocking because Ohio State, you should be able to recruit pretty easily, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State is, as we just saw this last year coming off a championship, one of the, if not the premier brand in the country when it comes to college football. You should have people lining up to go there. We talk about NIL dollars. I mean, there should be people lining up to give us money for the right to play at Ohio State.
Ooh, there's a hot take.
I'm, I'm telling you, it's like that. Uh, and I think that Tyler Bowen has done a tremendous job turning this narrative around a little bit. Um, a guy who's gone out, got the two top offensive line recruits in the state of Ohio. The two guys that you yourself on your list said we had to have.
Yep, Maxwell Riley and Sam Greer. Yep.
So he did that. And Eric,
Mm-hmm.
as I mentioned in our members only video, he locked them up early. And that was huge because now he can go out and go fishing nationally and see what he can catch there.
Yes. So I want to know from all of you who are watching this video, put a comment down in the comment section below. What do you think when it comes to offensive line recruiting? Why is Tyler Bowen just a better recruiter than what Justin Fry was? Is it his approach? Is it the fact that he's just casting a wider net as a recruiter? What do you think it is that makes him connect with these recruits better than what Justin Fry did? And Chris, I'll give you the first go about on that.
Um, I don't want to say this is going to come out sounding wrong, but I kind of feel like he's a more likable guy, Eric. I don't know. Justin Fry, I mean, when he came in a press conference, he said all the right things in the beginning.
He did.
But there's just something I think that is very likable, but also very real about Tyler Bowen.
Do
Uh,
you
I
think? Do you think? Sorry, didn't mean to
Go
interrupt,
ahead.
but this just popped in my head, and I think that this is a really good question, and I want to pick your brain. Do you think Justin Fry really had his heart in the NFL this whole time?
I think he had his mind on getting to the NFL. Um, so yeah, I think there's definitely something to what you're saying there. Uh, and honestly, Eric, I just don't know how much of a recruiter he really was.
Yeah.
There are some people who are great coaches with X's and O's. There are some people who are recruiters and are just great people, great people. And then on that rare occasion, you'll get a crossover. And that's where you get guys like Brian Hartline. That's where you get guys like Ryan Day.
Hmm.
When you get that crossover of guys who understand the X's and O's and they have tremendous personalities and are great people.
Hmm. They're
People.
they're very personable.
Yes.
They're
Uh,
storytellers. They're friendly, they're likable, they're trustworthy. They're all those things that you kind of look for in somebody who you're going to trust your child to for the next 3 to 4 or 5 years,
and
uh,
and let's
in
face it, Eric.
developing him.
Let's face it. I mean, if you look at it, Brian Hartline had that, but he also had an NFL background.
Hmm.
Ryan Day had that, but he had an NFL background.
Right.
You look at James Laurinaitis, who we think is developing pretty well into a good coach and recruiter. Same thing. Same thing with Tim Walton.
True.
You go now to Tyler Bowen, who has coached in the NFL. He has, he is that personable type guy.
Has he coached in the NFL?
I believe he was with Urban as well. I think,
Oh,
if
he
I'm not
was. That's
mistaken.
right. I think you're right. I think you're
In
right
fact, I
about that.
also think he had a little stint where he was coaching with OG Walt at one time. Could be wrong.
Jacksonville Jaguars one season 2021. You're right. I forgot about that.
So he's
But
had
he
that cup
but
of coffee
but
in the
he's been
NFL.
in college. So in the 15 years as a coach, he has spent 14 of those seasons in college. So only
Right.
one year in the NFL. But that was definitely a learning year, no doubt, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing: his college resume and his pro resume don't jump out at you like James Laurinaitis. They don't jump out at you like Brian Hartline. Uh, they don't jump out at you like Tim Walton, who developed a Jalen Ramsey. You know, uh, but it's there. But he is that personable type of guy who can share these experiences, and I think that makes for a good recruiter.
I think you're right. I think you're right. And so, out of the six recruits that we have landed so far in the 2026 class, if you're keeping score at home between all of the coaches, Tyler Bowen is leading the pack with two here. So, hats off to him for doing that. And Chris, you mentioned it earlier when we had done a members only recruiting video where we broke down Sam Greer's tape. We talked about him as a recruit. And so this video, we're not going to do that. By the way, if you're not a member of the OHIO podcast, as far as um, the 3.99, it's only 3.99 a month. That's it. That's all we ask. It gets you behind the scenes members only content. It gets you free shipping from our online store, which you can visit at theohiopodcast.com. Just click the store link at the top of the page. It gets you our preseason magazine, which is the very best out there amongst podcasts. I do declare. So, and you'll get all of that for just $3.99 a month. So you might want to consider hitting that little join button down below this video if you're watching on your PC.
Don't forget the T-shirt, Eric.
Yeah, you get a free membership T-shirt after you've been a member
and
for a month
and,
as well.
and we do occasional drawings, and our members get entered in those. So lots of great things.
We really believe in paying it forward here at the OHIO podcast. But one of the things that we do different than anybody else out there, and you saw it here first because we are often imitated, Chris. In the 6 years we've been doing this, we have come up with things and ideas and topics, and all of a sudden it gets stolen by the big boys around us. But by big boys, I'm not talking big boys. We're the biggest boys out there, but I'm
I
talking
don't know. There's a couple guys
media,
that might compete with us.
media size. Uh, they like to steal stuff because they aren't creative enough on their own. But one of the things that we do different than anybody is we have come up with our own recruiting ranking. And what we have decided to do, Chris, is we break down when a high schooler commits to Ohio State, we put him in our secret algorithm that again you'll learn a little bit more about if you become a member of the OHIO podcast when you watch our members only recruiting videos. And that algorithm spits out a number for that recruit. A number, if you're above 90 or more, you get a 5 Buckeye Leaf recruit from us. If you're in the 80s, you're a 4 Buckeye Leaf. 70s, you're a 3 Buckeye Leaf. Anything below 70, you're a two
You don't
Buckeye
belong at
Leaf.
Ohio State.
Uh,
And, and,
careful,
and
careful there, Chris. We are we're tough judge. We're tough. We're tough at
we
this.
are. We
That
are.
being said, we now have 6 guys, Chris, in this class. Before we reveal what their rankings are in our secret rankings, would you like to break down the 247's rankings real fast for everybody, the composite rankings?
Absolutely. So Ohio State has 6 hard commits. 247, their composite rankings are as follows. Chris Henry Jr. is first. He has a composite, he's ranked as a 94, 4-star prospect.
He's 5. He's a 5 star.
Well, he's 4-star according to this.
It's wrong.
It is wrong.
He's 5 star. It's wrong. But
Then,
continue.
then we have Maxwell Riley, the recently signed offensive tackle. He's ranked at a 92, also a 4-star. Uh, they have Jacob Weatherspoon in at 3, the cornerback from Avon. He has a ranking of 90, which qualifies him as a 4-star. Sam Greer, the young man who just signed with us, offensive tackle, he also has a ranking of 90 and is considered a 4-star. Jaden Ricketts, the third player with a ranking of 90, who is also a 4-star. And then Corbin Fordham, the tight end from Jacksonville, Florida. They have him at 88 and ranked with 3 stars.
Now, I have been doing my own kind of in my head rankings for years, Chris. And I often disagree with the quote unquote experts. And when it's all said and done, a lot of times I say things like, "Oh well, I could have told you that," or after 2 or 3 years, right? Or,
Right.
"Man, they should have been listening to me." So I've decided to put my money where my mouth is. We have as a podcast. We have done our own rankings, and you're going to notice a huge difference between what Chris just read off to you from 247 Sports versus what we have. So, without any further ado, here are the updated Ohio State commitment rankings from the OHIO podcast. At number 1, with a score of 98.860, is Chris Henry Jr., the former Ohio high school wide receiver turned California wide receiver. And he's going to be one. It's going to be a battle to the end, Chris. Oregon, USC. I think Oregon's going to throw a ton of money at this kid. Michigan tried. Michigan's got no shot. It's going to be down to Oregon and Ohio State, in my opinion, for Chris Henry Jr. But he is committed. He's been committed for a couple years. Number 2. Do you have something to say about that before I move
No,
on?
I was just going to say he's this year's Jeremiah Smith / Edric Houston.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Number 2, offensive lineman Maxwell Riley. We have him at a 97.163. So he's the second highest ranked recruit in this class. Now, if you would have looked at 247 Sports, the third highest ranked recruit was, I believe, Jacob
Jacob
Weatherspoon.
Weatherspoon.
That's not the case for us. We have
No.
Sam Greer much higher than Jacob Weatherspoon. Sam got a ranking of 91.352 from us. Where did Corbin was number 6 in their rankings?
Yes.
That is criminally wrong.
They
You
couldn't have
go.
even watched the kid's film. They couldn't
th-
have. Just,
there's no way. You go and watch this kid play. He is, for a tight end, He is incredibly athletic, incredibly fast, has tremendous hands. Those hands are sticky good, man. Uh, we gave him an 88.919 ranking. Number 5 is the cornerback from Akron, or excuse me, from Avon, Jacob Weatherspoon, 78.915. We think he's a borderline high 3, low 4 Buckeye Leaf recruit. And then number 6, Chris says he doesn't deserve to be a Buckeye if you would have listened to him earlier. Why?
He'll get there.
Okay. Wide receiver Jaden Ricketts, he's got a 68.725. He is, there's one thing Jaden's got that you absolutely cannot teach:
Speed.
speed. He is fast, but he is incredibly raw, and he does not play against very good competition, which can make that speed look a little
But
bit deceiving.
there is one other thing that he's got that no other school has.
Yeah, what's that?
That's Brian Hartline as his receiver coach.
That is true. That is
All
true.
he does is pump out first round draft picks.
I believe they have him ranked as an athlete. We put him in as a wide receiver. So
They
there
have
you
him
have it.
ranked as a wide receiver.
Do they?
Yeah.
Who's the athlete? Is it Jacob Weatherspoon?
No, they've got him in at corner.
They put him at corner. So they
They've got everybody ranked with a position currently.
okay. Then I think Jaden. They changed Jaden because he must have been. I think he might have been an athlete at first, if I recall correctly. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. What is here is our rankings. So I want to know from you all: do you agree with us or do you agree with 247 Sports? I want to know what you all think. Let us know in the comments section below. Do you think we are more correct in our rankings than 247 Sports is? I'm here to tell you, if you disagree with me, you're probably wrong, because I'm here to tell you 247 Sports has been more wrong than they've been right a lot of times when it comes to recruits. So, um, Chris, how do you feel about this list? I feel pretty good about it.
I feel great about it, Eric, and I'm not trying to disparage against anybody else, but just keep in mind our list is coming from a Buckeye perspective, and we have no advertisers or anybody influencing our vote.
Yes,
So
yes.
they're getting 100% just what we see from the recruits. And I
So
think that's a big part, a big factor in what makes our rankings more accurate.
So there are several things that go in, and this is not the video to break down how recruiting rankings happen with the big
Don't,
three.
yeah. I
This,
was
this,
say I thought you were going to mention the way ours break down. Please don't, because somebody's going to steal it.
yeah, no, we're not doing that. That's for members to figure that out. But and even the members won't know exactly what the algorithm is, but they'll know what the different uh,
Criteria.
criteria is that we use. But what I was going to get at was there are different ways that you can change your ranking with one of the big three ranking services. Um, and one of the things you will see, this happens every cycle. The kids who choose Southern schools get bumped at the end of the year. Do you know why that is?
Would that be ESECPN's influence, Eric?
Oh, that doesn't hurt. No, absolutely doesn't hurt. No, the recruiting services, let's just say they receive checks from sponsors
Right.
from the South. So it's heavily influenced. So you watch it every year. You watch these kids every year who commit to an Alabama or a Georgia, um, or a Tennessee, and they're like a ranked 220, 230, and when it's all said and done, they're at 140, 150, 160.
Yeah,
And
we
it's like,
saw those high recruits at Tennessee get boat raced all over the field by Ohio State this year.
yeah, right. So I've gotten sick of it because I know that it's not accurate. Now, I think it's good to start from a baseline, and so it's nice to have that baseline to start with. but I trust what my own eyeballs tell me and my experience of watching Ohio State football for the 43 years I've been on this planet. And I feel like I have my thumb on the pulse of recruiting pretty good these days. And so I feel like our rankings for the Ohio State commits, let's just I'm not why would I care to spend all day every day looking at the kids who are being recruited by Kentucky and Louisville and Marshall and like listen,
We don't have enough time in the day to do
we
what we got to do, Eric.
I know exactly. So I'm only going to care about the kids who are coming to Ohio State. So am I biased? Yeah, kinda, but I'm also incredibly critical. Is that fair,
Yes.
Chris?
I would say we are biased but honest.
Yes, that's yeah. So so these rankings are based off my biases to Ohio State with a critical eye, okay? And so don't take offense to them, but this is where we're at. We're going to follow this very closely, and when it's all said and done, it'll be very interesting to find out how many guys we rank in the upper half of the class end up number one staying at Ohio State as opposed to the transfer portal, and number two being successful at Ohio State.
I'll tell you what, Eric. As I look at this list, I can. I'm going to predict right now within by their junior year, 4 of the 6 people on this list will not only be at Ohio State, but they'll be excelling at Ohio State.
Mm, okay, that's a pretty good prediction. Someone will have to bookmark that and remind you of it 4 years from now. That'd
Yeah,
be pretty good.
absolutely.
All right, guys, that's today's video. We hope you enjoyed it. I know it's a little bit different, but I wanted to just kind of give you a quick overview of the Ohio State rankings and update of that for all of you. Hit the like button, like I said. Share the video if you don't mind. Put a comment down in the comment section below. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. We will be back with more videos for all of you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Chris. Appreciate that. Be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carmen, Ohio with all your heart. Till next time, you all know what to do. OH.
IO.
Go Bucks.